Okay, so this has some interesting implications. If you remember, sorry, hey gun people. um, so suspect tosses a gun out of the car, cited for littering. DA refuses gun charges. Now, this is a common ploy by liberal left-wing people. They don't want to charge gun crimes because they really don't want to stop gun crime because they really want to get the guns outlawed. And if the gun crimes that we charge actually works, then we can't keep hollering we need to get the guns. So, is this the issue here? I don't know. I'm sure this is a Houston DA. I'm sure it's a left wing, DA that wants to promote the liberal left agenda. So nothing they do passes the reason test. I just did where the DA in Dallas says we ain't prosecuting unless you steal over $800. So people are stealing food in grocery stores, crime's going out of control, and he's saying he doesn't want to charge poor people with crime. So he's letting everybody of color go because they're poor and it's not their fault. So in this case, I don't know. They don't say the color or race of the suspects. They do say the driver was 17 and the girl was 18. The driver threw, or the passenger, the 18-year-old female, threw the gun out of the car. The DA didn't file on her. Now, this article is on Blue Lives Matter. So Blue Lives Matter tends to be a little biased. It's kind of like saying CNN gives us the truth. Well, Blue Lives Matter isn't necessarily going to give us the truth either. They're going to promote the cop side. So they're saying the poor cops in Houston, the mean DA won't prosecute, won't give them charges. They have to call before they arrest somebody to see if the DA will approve charges. I'm kind of okay with that in today's age. I know it's a pain in the butt for law enforcement, but cops are charging people left and right with stuff they know is not going to be charged, and they're just doing it to put somebody in jail to get a stat to keep the system going, knowing the charge is going to be dismissed. So I'm okay with the DA saying, you know what, you cops, I mean, remember, we're talking about Houston PD here. We're talking about the agency where the detective said he wrote a warrant and said he had an undercover officer buy dope, and he didn't have an undercover informant buy dope. So they kicked the house. They end up killing 2 people. Then they found out he lied on a search warrant. Then they found out he lied on a bunch of search warrants. Then they had to dismiss a bunch of cases. So is this reasonable for a DA not to trust Houston PD? Absolutely. Is that the reason she's doing it? I don't know. Um, Regardless of the fact, the DA's office is government and the PD is government, and it's failure on both. And if you depend on government to protect you, well, that's where you end up being a fool and a victim. Okay? When you give government guns and say, we'll let them protect us, they'll keep us safe, well, that's when you're an idiot and you deserve what you get. So, they're not charging a female because a 17-year-old driver said, I gave her the gun and told her to throw it out. So he's taking responsibility. Is that good? I don't know. I don't know all the facts of the case. They recovered the gun. Did they get DNA off the gun? If the driver's DNA ain't on it and only passenger's DNA, then I'd charge the passenger. Working with crooks and thugs all the time, they always give the gun to the female. They know cops don't search them as well. They know they don't pay as much attention to them, and they know they'll get better charges and they won't come down as hard, and the cops won't treat them as bad. So it's very common for the woman in a car, in a car or hanging out with gangsters, to be the one that has a gun. So is this a good charge or a bad charge? Is this good? It's government failure. It's Houston PD allowing themselves to hire such incompetent cops that they have cops out there killing people. They're charging things that get dismissed. They don't have integrity, and they keep retaining these people. So it's a failure on the police department. It's a failure on the DA's department for not charging and being dismissive of cases and not prosecuting crimes. It makes the PD say, we don't care. We're not going to arrest anybody because the DA won't file. And then crime goes up. And the DA says, I can't file unless the cop gives it to me. And the cops say, well, we don't give it to him because she don't file. And meanwhile, as usual, the dumb tax-paying citizens who doesn't hold government accountable ends up paying higher taxes. They hire more DAs and they hire more cops because crime's going up, when really that ain't the fix. If more armed citizens were out there taking care of business, we wouldn't have to worry about crime going up. It would take care of itself. But we'll end that there, and you guys can figure out, and somebody who lives there maybe can give us some better insight.